Lawrence Lomote Nakum. He's a talented jazz musician who once shared a stage with the legendary Hugh Masekela, and he happens to be the only Ghanaian trumpeter in the elite Grenadier Guards at Buckingham Palace in London. He's in Ghana for the holidays, and we're going to find out whether he sees himself returning home after years working as a musician abroad. He is the only Ghanaian and African musician in the elite Grenadier Guards, where he is employed as a professional cornet and trumpet player. Welcome to the studio, Lawrence Lomote Nakum.
Thank you very much, Dede.
Thanks for being with us here today. But before we start our conversation, let's take a little look at Lomote's life as a musician. Into London and found yourself at Buckingham Palace, staring in awe at the sheer quantity of gold adorning the Queen Victoria Memorial statue, and wondering how much of that gold came from Ghana, Britain's former colony named the Gold Coast, or if you ever decided to take your morning exercise in St. James's Park, which lies between the palace and Horse Guards Parade, where the ceremonial trooping of the colour takes place every June, well then, you've probably unknowingly already seen Lawrence Lomote Nakum or heard him on his trumpet as he marches through the park.
I've always had a desire to enhance my abilities or to be better at anything I do. I'm never satisfied. So if I learn something, I want to be better at it. I want to polish it. I want to make it good all the time. I'm hungry for more and to be better. So one of the things I needed to do was to read music, because I didn't read music. And then I thought, hey, how do you get to read music for free, right?
Okay. Join the British Army and get to read music for free.
Get to learn how to do it, because if I went
Is
to
that really what you were thinking?
One of the reasons. One of the reasons. So when I was with Megastar, they gave us a salary, they gave us free accommodation, they gave us uniforms, we had roadies, we had transportation, we had per diems. It was a full package. So when I went to inquire into the British Army, it was a similar concept.
Oh, okay.
So that was the invitation. But on top of that, because I couldn't read music and they would be able to teach me, it made it even more desirable for me to go there and learn it. How do I learn it? I do an audition, I can play, but I can't read the music. And the guy who's auditioning me goes, well, I'm just going to give you a piece of music for you to read. In your own time, go, play. And I'm stood there and I'm watching the music because I can't read it. I've just read music to him that I learned, right?
Okay. You're pretending to read the music.
Yes,
okay.
Of course. And he's looking at me, he's just thinking, right. After about 2-3 minutes, he goes, you can't read, can you? And I go, no, I can't. So he goes, right, I'm just going to bring a grade 2 or something. So he brings a grade 2. So we're going from...
A grade 2 piece of music?
Yeah, so we're going from grade 5 to grade 2 or grade 1 or something. And I'm still stood there looking at this piece of music.
The notes mean nothing to you on paper.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So he goes, right, okay, we realized that you can't read music. That is not a problem.
Okay.
We can teach you that, but you can play. We know you can play.
He recognized you can play, right?
So that's the bit that we want or that we need. You can play. Reading, we can teach you that, no problem. So we're going to give you 6 months to get up to scratch with the music, and if you're unable to do that, we're going to have to let you go. Okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking, right, you're going to give me 6, I'll do it in 3. Because I won the job, right? I won the job.
Right.
And
the job is what? Musician in the British Army?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, right, I'll do it in 3 in my mind. I go, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity, blah, blah. And 3 months later, they call me to the chief instructor's office, and he goes, I think he's a deputy chief instructor. He goes, Lawrence, I'm pleasantly surprised at your progress, and I think your probation ends today. Wow. And this is the 3-month period. I think, yes, got it.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I worked tirelessly. I wouldn't sleep. I just kept practicing.
You were driven.
Over and over and over. I wouldn't miss a detail on the page, you know. It was hard to start with, but, you know, with anything, if you put your mind to it and you're dedicated,
yes,
you will achieve it.
So within those 3 months, you could read what grade music?
Oh, 7, 8.
Okay, top.
Easy. I was doing it.
Everything.
I mean, the skill was there. That was
The musicality was there.
The musicality was there. I knew I had a passion for playing scales. I loved scales.
Most people hate scales.
That's right. Most musicians don't like scales, but I love scales because I think it's the pinnacle of a musician. That
the
enhances.
technical
It enhances you. You know exactly where your bearings are. You know where, you know, even when you shut your eyes, you know exactly where you are. So that's sort of, and so when you come to actually read it and you're seeing it on the paper, you can relate. Oh, we're in this key. So these are some of the notes that I should be expecting along the way, or the fingering that I should expect. So then you start to put 1 and 2 together. It starts to marry as you go along. And very quickly you think, right, here it is. Then the other problem was rhythms. Being able to understand the rhythms on the page. So I had to take time to master that too.
Is that the Latin? No.
So the rhythm is like you go pa pa or pa 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 pa, things like that. So that those are the rhythmic. So you see it on the page and you think, oh, you pa 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 pa. What does it look like when it's written? You know, or and so
the bars and so forth.
So you have a bar of notes. And you have maybe, let's say it's in 2/4 or it's in 4/4 or it's in 6/8, and but every bar will have different rhythms in it. Sometimes it's simple as pa 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 or pa 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 or pa pa da pa da pa da 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 da, something like that. You know, so you have to be, and then learning how to read ahead of yourself and understanding where you're going. Sometimes you get lost. It's part of the game, you know, and then you sort of realign yourself and, okay, here we are. And you have to be able to do that quickly if you get lost. Right. Because everybody else is just moving along.
Right. You're part of a band.
That's right, you're part of a band. Everybody gets lost at some point. So, but it's all great fun, yeah.
So now tell us how it all began.
Yeah, I remember my young cousin who came from England to visit my father, and she takes me to Labadi Beach. And while we're traveling in her car, she's giving me her bag to hold. And while we're traveling, I just start drumming on her bag and enjoying myself. And then she's like, my little cousin can do that stuff, you know. So she's observed, and then she goes back home to drop me off and tells my dad, are you aware that your son is very talented? And my dad is sort of seeing it, but he doesn't really care because he wants me to be an MP.
An MP?
You know, member of parliament, and yes, I can speak clearly, and I'm eloquent and everything, but that's not my thing. Music is my thing. And so he's seen it, but he's brushed it to the side. My cousin go and say to him, look, this guy has something, and if you don't do something about it, I'll take him away from you to England, and somebody will train him to become, and that's when he sort of pecked up. And then I remember we went to a wedding, which was my cousin, John Tay Memorial School. His first son was getting married. I'm dressed in my political suit with my shoes.
At what age now?
I'm about 5 or 6.
Still 5 or 6.
5 or 6. And I take my shoes off and I give it to somebody and I say, give me that bass drum. and I start going at it. But then everybody around knows the guy who is playing the bass drum, and they know he doesn't play like this.
Like this 5 to 6 year old boy.
This boy is doing something with this. And so it catches the attention of John Tay himself. And John Tay asks to see this boy. He doesn't know who this boy is. The boy turns up, and it turns out that it's his own nephew. And his head just goes bam. You know, and he goes to my dad, bring him to the school, he'll have a scholarship. You know, so my dad takes me to the school, and then he decided to start me on the journey of the piano, because John Tay is a wizard on the piano. Man, that man, he can take a piece of music. He's never seen it before. He looked at it once, twice, shuts it, gives you the book. If you can read music, you read it, and he plays everything exactly as is on the page. And he's only just seen it. Man is a wizard. And he wants to make me one of the best musicians in the country by the age of 9. By 7, he dies. Or 7, 8, he dies. So the dream is gone.
Right.
But I carry on. I move on from learning the piano to now the trumpet. So at the age of 8, I move on from piano to the trumpet. And that's where the journey starts. And I'm less eating up the stuff. I'm learning stuff very quickly. But even before he died, he would invite my father around midnight, just come and listen to me play. Because he's going, look, people try and learn this stuff in many, many days. Your son has learned several pieces of music in a short period of time, and I want you to come and hear it. So I had to drive down and come and hear it. But then I started to develop this trumpet thing through the, you know, as a boy, as part of the band. And then when I'm a teenager, I start also impacting the knowledge to the younger folk who are coming, because then I'm going on to secondary school and I'm leaving. So we have to teach the younger folk to take over our places. And then from secondary school, I decide to do music full time now. Dad is not very happy, but it's, the whole thing is pronounced when Tego sisters drive to our home to ask his permission that they want to work with me. And they tell him the package, they tell him they're going to pay me. Every month they're going to give me accommodation. You know, your son hasn't got a problem.
And by this time, you're what age now?
19.
19, right,
Yeah.
okay. There's something curious. Maybe you've answered the question. I remember John Tay Memorial School. It was very inspiring. I used to go there, actually, during that period. And one curiosity is that John Tay could read music like that, but you went to UK and you couldn't read music when you were doing your...
I could read on the piano at 6. He was showing me how to do it.
He taught you to read music?
Yes, but the trumpet and the piano are different. Now, I obviously started, when I started playing the trumpet, because he died, we were just taught how to read it with the valves. So now I'm reading what I see, maybe a 1 valve, 2 valve, 1.5 valve, 1 and a 3 valve, rather than dots.
Okay.
So the tuition is different.
Okay.
So I learned that, I mastered that art very quickly. So you put a piece of music in front of me, as soon as I know the tune, bam, I'm gone.
Okay.
And then now I have to read it, but also the piano is a concert instrument. The trumpet is not a concert instrument. It's a transposed instrument. So I have to transpose it into another key to play.
Can you
That's a
explain that?
dilemma.
Explain
So
it. The piano is a concert instrument.
the trumpet is not. So the trumpet,
It's a band instrument. Or what?
no, so when
Marching
it's a
instrument.
concert, is the sound.
Okay.
So the piano is playing in C, but the trumpet C is a B flat.
I see. Okay.
It sounds the same, but I'm actually in B flat.
Okay.
So when I sound my C is a piano B flat. When the piano sounds a C, it's my D.
Wow. So you have to read 2 sets of music in a way.
No, not 2 sets of music. So because I learned the piano and now I'm playing the trumpet, and it's only when I joined the army I was taught the difference in sound. I just learned it to play. So in the bands, when we're playing, when the piano says C, I play C on the trumpet, but actually I'm playing my D because I'm transposed. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yes, so...
But what the music you're reading is different from what the person next to you is reading. You have two different...
The piano,
sets of
so the piano is reading differently,
different
and I'm
set of
reading...
music.
Yes,
Yes.
so you write it for piano, and you write it for me differently, because if you give me the piano music,
It won't
I
sound.
need to transpose it,
Yeah.
which is hard work.
Yes.
But if you're a trained musician, you can do it, because we use that concept when we go to play in the God's Chapel, for instance. When we play hymns, the music is all in piano music, and then you have to play your part, but you have to transpose it. So like the saxophonist has to transpose 6 octaves, or six notes above the piano to be able to play in key or in tune with the rest of the band. So like the tuba is same as a piano. They don't have to transpose. The euphonium, the flautists, for instance, but the French horns, the trumpets, I think the trombones are also in concert key as well. But anybody else has to transpose. But the saxophone is even worse, because they have to do six notes above to be in tune with the piano.
Lomate, you're not just a Queen's Guard, now a King's Guard at Buckingham Palace. In your spare time, you do all these other gigs. I actually even saw you last time I was in the UK. You were rehearsing for a gig with Diana Hamilton.
Correct.
Which drew a big Ghanaian crowd.
Yes, she always has a good crowd.
You played twice with her, I think.
Yes.
In North London with Green, and lots of people. There were queues for hours before.
Correct.
Before the gig started.
Yeah.
Tell us who else you've played with while you've been out of Ghana.
I've had a privilege to work with Amachi Dede in London and in Germany, I think in Holland as well.
That's big.
Yeah, and I've worked with Nasi, Ohima Mercy, Wales. I think, that's all I can remember for now. But most of the time when the artists come, people assume that because I'm in the army, and some of them think that I'm in the army as a soldier, but I'm actually in the army as a musician.
But a trained soldier also.
I'm a trained soldier, yes.
But you're there as a musician.
But yes, music is my trade.
Right.
The army has 250 jobs, and one of the jobs there is music, and that's what I do. And people sort of conflict the two. They don't. Oh, he's a soldier. Oh, he's in the army. No, I'm actually a musician. I'm a non-commissioned officer in the British Army, and so sometimes they don't invite me for some of these gigs because they think, oh, he's in the army, or they've taken him to Afghanistan, or no. But actually, I'm on land because what I do requires me to do the changing of the guard ceremony, which is a big earner for the UK. Yes, so I got to work with Robert Williams during the Queen's Jubilee at Buckingham Palace. That was huge. I've had a chance to play with the likes of Yemi Alade as well. And that's been
Nigerian.
She's a Nigerian superstar. Really great to work with her. The energy and the vibe. It's amazing. But that's
in the UK. Are you?
So we rehearsed in the UK, and then we performed in France. I also got the privilege. I was invited to do a recording for Wolf Hall, which is a BBC series, and it features an array of British stars, the top British actors and actresses. And I was featured as John Blanc, who served in the court of Henry VIII. And this guy, nobody knows where he came from.
But a black trumpeter.
It's a black trumpeter.
In the time of
and he was in the House of Cavalry playing, fanfare trumpet. So you can see pictures of him, and I get to play him in Wolf Hall. So there's a scene of a wedding of a king, and so we sound this natural trumpets, and so it's quite a privilege really that I'm doing changing the guard. I'm playing with Yemi Alade. I'm playing with the Ghanian artists, and then I get to play in a film set, you know, for Wolf Hall, which is
How did they find you?
Good question. I played with an orchestra called Chineke. Chineke is the first orchestra which diverse musicians from all over the world. So basically, if you're black or of an ethnic minority, you'll be invited to play with Chineke. And I played with Chineke. They are a classical organization. And the director of Chineke recommended me to the director of a theater organization. If I remember the name, I'll come back to it. But then she invited me to do a set with them at the Westminster Abbey. Shakespeare in the Abbey.
Okay.
Yeah, and so when we did that set, the lady who was running it came up to me and says, I didn't realize we had good trumpet players out there, like black trumpet players, you know.
What, they were going to use a white actor and paint them black? Or?
No, but she didn't realize that, you know, they had good players. So she was impressed, and maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, when Wolf Hall came, she remembered me.
Okay.
And she
recommended you.
And she called me again and said, Lawrence, there's this black trumpeter thing going on, and I want you to be part of it. Which I was touched that she remembered me.
Yeah, that's what you said about the unique sound of your trumpet.
But not just that; it's just the ethic, the work ethic, you know, and the rapport that we created. Because one of the things I do is I try to create rapport with the people that I work with, so that it's not just the work, but it's the interaction.
Yes.
And because you create memories, because you never know. You never know. Yes. And one of those moments came up after a few years, and this lady remembered me and called me up to come and do this.
Wonderful. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And looking to the future, do you see yourself coming back to Ghana ever? And what would bring you back to Ghana? With the technical skills you have now?
I absolutely love Ghana. Ghana is home. Ghana is beautiful. I love the dress I'm wearing now because I'm not cold.
Okay.
And I wake up and I see the sun every day. A lot. I want to give back what I know, what I've learned in terms of knowledge, in terms of efficiency, in terms of skill. So maybe even the military bands here, the military and the police bands, if I can go in and chip in something, if they need me to, if they need a variety of music, because I don't know if they got an array of stuff, because we got a huge library back in London, and we can bring some of the music here just so that they can enhance themselves and have the challenge of what we face over there, because some of the music is really challenging, really challenging. It puts you on your toes, literally. And because you're a professional musician, the guy comes, the music is distributed within 5-10 minutes, or sometimes 2 minutes, or a few seconds, and he drops the button and you're supposed to play. And he will take no prisoners, right? You've got to play. He's paid, you've been paid as a professional, go for it. You know, so that sort of level of performance, because it's cutting edge, and it's pressure, a lot of pressure. You've got to be on your game all the time. You know, even our rehearsals in Wellington Barracks in London, people are viewing you. You're in the public eye. You know, so you can't turn up cold. You got to be on your mettle all the time. So it's a pressure gig. But how do you get over it? You make sure that you're ahead of the game. If there's a detail of music out and you're not sure, you get into your rehearsal room or practice room, or take it home, or just have the time to look through the music, embed it into and understand, see the intricacies, where the corners are, make sure you're okay with it, you know what's going on. So that sort of professionalism, bring that home to us, so we can be good too. I mean, I'm not saying we're not good, but but we can be better.
So you're interested in being involved with the military bands?
Yes,
enhancing this
and other bands as well, because obviously when we look at even the contemporary side of things, there's there isn't much of the brass elements in there, and some of the elements that are in there are just okay. We can make things better with collaboration and working together and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be happy to bring that to the table.
And looking at the legacy of Dante, you have had the privilege of being at that school, which to me seemed like something very unique. A music school. I don't know whether there are many like that in Ghana. I don't know whether there's anything else like that in Ghana.
Probably not.
Have you thought about, maybe carrying on that legacy, a school where children could actually go from the age of, you went at the age of 6? Did you go 5 and 6?
Yes.
And actually make music their career. It's such a sad thing that he died. When you were just 7, you'd only been in the school for 1 or 2 years. But do you think that's a viable proposition?
That's an absolute viable. I even thought of bringing some of my colleagues down, some of the, because most of them are graduates and they have masters and doctorate degrees in the bands in London. So I could bring some of them down to give us, like a talk or maybe a master class or something, and that would really enhance us. How can we bring them to the military bands and, come down with them, stay a week at a time, maybe a month, who knows, and we can bring some knowledge down just so that our people know what's out there, because that's what drove me to go. I was thinking, is there anything more to the trumpet? And that's what drove me to go to England, because I almost felt like I had done it, everything in Ghana, I'd done it, what's left. So I went to England to seek some more knowledge and challenge. And yes, it has been an interesting, intriguing journey. But now it's time to come home.
Guys, I have nothing much to say because the video itself is very long, but I just have something little to say. Like, the simplicity of this man is what, baffles me. Can you imagine where this man entered? He's supposed to be raising his shoulder and be doing booga, but us that have nothing, if we are the one, we are not even up to the position this guy is. But the way we are doing, as if we are carrying the whole world on our head. Learn from this young man. Look at how humble it is. This is the typical example of how Ghanaians are. Ghanaians are humble. Ghanaians are simple people. They are easygoing. People do say Ghanaians are slow, but it doesn't mean they are slow academically. It means they take things easy, like they do things they take their step. It means that they do things. It means that they take things slowly, and they are very patient. It means that Ghanaians are very patient. They don't rush things. They take everything easy, and most of them wait on the Lord, to bless them, unlike my country people. Let me not come on these people today. So guys, this brings me to the end of my video. Let me not come on these people today. So guys, this brings me to the end of my video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do well to like, subscribe to this channel, share this video to as many eyes out there. I believe they'll watch and also learn 1 or 2 things on this clip. I love you guys always. Bye.